It's ding ding, two men in a ring. We put pride in your stride and a quiver in your liver. You want 'em, we've got 'em, coming to you. Loud and proud, he's the biggest, he's the baddest. It's Mr. Gavin Davis on the Gavin Davis Podcast Show.
Hello and welcome to part 3 of the Gavin Davis podcast with tonight's guests, Natalie and Mauricio Gomes. Okay, Natalie, I want to come back to you first and foremost. We talked about coaching in the last little bit of the podcast. On a weekly basis, are you doing more coaching now because you feel you're coming towards the end of your competition days? When you are training, what type of intensity are you putting on your training? Are you just flow rolling, or are you actually getting good solid sessions in?
So before I tore my meniscus, I was training pretty hard 3 or 4 times a week. As I'm just coming back into it, I'm hitting 2 or 3 times a week, and it's not flow rolling, but I'm only training with Andre, who is my apprentice. He's super high level, really skilled, and he's light as well. And so it's like quite a lot of movement, fast paced movement. But what he's not doing is he's not putting a huge amount of pressure on me, if that makes sense. You know, like when he's passing the guard, he's sort of not passing super low with heavy hips, because it's my knee basically that he's trying to avoid. But it's definitely not flow rolling.
Okay.
Yeah, because
So,
you know, he can catch me.
What belt is he?
So he's a blue belt, but he's been training for 7 years now. And he started when he was like 9 or 10.
Okay.
But I trained him how to train with kids and women since he was tiny, because when he came with me at 9, he started assisting in my like mini kids class, so with the 5-year-olds, when he was like 10. So he's actually super high level.
So reason being, I've got a big comp coming up next month. I'm doing Grapple Wars. It's an 8-man tournament, and I'm after some lighter guys to roll with. No gi. So I've messaged Kev. I'm going to speak to Kev when I see him at the RAF Champs this week, because I'll get over and get some sessions in with Kev. But because you're in North Oxfordshire, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I'm willing to travel.
Yeah, you're very welcome to come over. And obviously, if like daytimes work for you, we have the shed here. Andre's in the shed most of the days. He teaches all of my daytime classes, adult classes as well.
Okay.
He's a great partner, super technical.
Okay. I'll send you a private message after the podcast and we'll arrange something. So
Nice.
when you look, Mauricio, at how Natalie and modern day instructors structure a class, where you'll do a warm up and then you'll do a few drills on a certain technique, and then you'll probably finish with 20-30 minutes sparring at the end. Going back to Hollis, was that the structure of his classes? How did he structure a class back in the day?
We had a little bit of a warm-up, nothing major, and then get straight into it. It was usually started with takedowns, self-defense, and then groundwork and sparring. He used to show a position, sometimes 2. If it was something new, he would do it on all of us so we could feel it. If not, we would just spar. Sparring was what we went there for.
How light was he?
70 kilos, 72 kilos. But he was extremely quick, efficient, and he never stopped. He had a stamina that he could train for hours on end.
Okay. Now, I read in the book that on Fridays, you used to do, I'm going to try and get the pronunciation right for you, Porrado, which was brawling, and Taparia, slapping. So you used to do like, if they were in a position not on their back and they were open, you just slap them.
No.
No?
No. What we did that didn't last very long.
Okay.
Was we used to do like a preparation for MMA on Fridays. So you would put one guy with boxing gloves, the other one had to approach, take the guy down, and finish. And obviously, once in a while, somebody got knocked down
Okay.
because the other one was good in boxing or whatever it was.
Yeah.
The tapadia is another thing altogether. And to be honest with you, I don't remember us doing that. I know that in some other academies, they would have that kind of session. Very, very few. What it actually means, it's not the person on the floor. It would start on top, and you would continue on the floor if it went to the floor. And it only meant that instead of punching, you were giving slaps with the hand open.
Yeah.
So they were very annoying because they would. It doesn't hurt that much, but a slap is
It stings, doesn't it?
stings, and
Yeah.
you get slapped in the face. You want to throw your opponent out the window. So, and what I always noticed with time is that the sessions were getting smaller and smaller and smaller. You have to understand that in a gym, that's why nowadays everything is so split and divided. You have in the same gym, but you have the no-gi class, you have the gi class, you have the MMA class. Everything is separate because you can't expect the guy that works in an office, walks into your gym, and all of a sudden he gets his clothes off, puts a gi on, and says, "Oh, today we're going to slap you till you can't take it anymore." He'll never come back to your gym.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
So you do things to a certain public, and all of them mixed together is part of Jiu-Jitsu. Yes, it is. We have them all mixed up in one martial art with several phases to it. You have the Jiu-Jitsu with the gi. You have the Jiu-Jitsu without the gi. You have the judo, which is a part of Jiu-Jitsu. It's only the takedowns. And if you look back in time, all of these martial arts, the majority came from Jiu-Jitsu. And what we used to do back then was mostly, I think, all just wanted to enrich our lives with other things to add whatever we wanted. We did wrestling, we did Greco-Roman, we did boxing, we did judo, we did all of these martial arts to try to add to our game so we would be a more complete fighter. And yeah, that's what he wanted for us, and that's what I think every instructor wants for their students, is to see them get better, to see them, raise in the world of Jiu-Jitsu. And he can take any route that he wants after a certain age. Like Natalie has these kids that she trains, and whatever path they decide to take in their future, if they want to do MMA, if they want to compete, or if they just want to nothing, sit in an office and train once in a while, this will stay for the rest of their days. I know that because in my country it's you go to the gym, and I don't have that here, unfortunately, but I can go to a gym in Brazil and I'll have 10, 20, 30 guys my age training on a regular basis on a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Everybody worked all week, and Saturday morning is let's all get together in the gym. So we train, and then we we have a juice or we talk or have a
Yeah.
coffee or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
That's Jiu-Jitsu united us our whole lives, and
Yeah.
we'll
I
still keep doing
I
the
think
rest.
I think in this country, I think the weather doesn't help you. Do you know what I mean? I think it's so cold when you start getting older to allow your joints and your bones. What did you think about the weather when you came to this country, Mauricio?
Dreadful.
It's awful, isn't it?
I landed in a gym in Birmingham where it used to be an old church, abandoned church.
Yeah,
So it was colder inside than out.
yeah,
I had to teach with 2 socks, what do you call this?
Joggers.
Joggers. I had under the gi, I had a long sleeve t-shirt, a hoodie with a hood, the gi and the belt, the mats were like this size.
yeah,
So any bump on with the toe on the mat, it would hurt like hell. And it was not very comfortable at all. I stayed there 2 winters and 1 summer. And it was doing all right, but the venue was awful.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
send him back, Gav. Every three months or so, I send him to Brazil for a month so that he gets a shed load of vitamin D.
Yeah.
And then he can come back and face the UK again.
It is hard. It does take its toll on you, the cold and the damp. It really does.
Mhm.
Well, the first winter, and I've been in winters here before, but I was always visiting. And I was always visiting Roger or visiting the gym, or Roger had a fight. So I would come here and we would go to the States or Canada or whatever the hell the fight would be. And so when I met Natalie and we actually started living together, my first 2 winters, I got a pneumonia in each one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't surprise me, mate.
It's things that you forget. Sometimes you're in the gym, so, oh, I'm going to quickly go to the corner, get a coffee and come back. But you forget you're in flip-flops. You have a rash guard that's damp. You only put a jacket on, took the gi, put the jacket on, but you're all wet underneath. So
Yeah.
you're going to get sick, but you have that, just a quick corner and back.
Yeah.
And you got pneumonia.
Natalie,
Mhm.
what belt for you was your most important?
My most important, I think, probably brown belt. I definitely felt a massive transition at purple belt, but I think brown belt is where you kind of have a little bit of a choice in the black belt that you want to be. Yeah. So I think there's a little bit of pressure there, that you know that you want to be a certain level before that black belt gets tied around your waist. And I think as well, brown belt, I'd had my own gym for a little while. It was really sort of everything that I had wanted was coming to fruition. I competed at the Europeans and I won, and I just put a hell of a lot into that belt. And I think it was probably, it was probably a really pivotal belt for me.
Yeah. Purple it was for me. Mauricio, just going back to what you said on part 1. So you never had a belt until you had your black belt off Hollis.
Yeah, he gave me all of my belts.
All right. So he give you a blue belt, a purple belt, a brown. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, when I arrived at Halls for the first time, he knew that I've been training for years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I didn't say anything, but when he put me to train, probably with some of the 3 best guys he had there at that day, and I tapped all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And this was a Monday. And on Saturday, that would have been 5 days after that, said, listen, you can go to the shop There's one in the corner. Buy yourself your blue belt. You can start wearing it as of tomorrow. We had no gradings at the time.
Yeah.
You just went to he would tell you, you go to the shop, you buy a belt, and that's it. There's no ceremony. Yeah, I got my belt. Nobody cares, man. Shut up and keep on training.
Yeah.
So I got my blue belt, and Saturday, he put me in a championship, state championship, and I won weight and absolute. That was my first championship as a blue belt.
Okay.
And I won all the others after that.
So you're famous for like the knee on belly, the pressure that you can get on that knee on belly.
Yeah.
What did Hollis used to do, which thinking back now was better than other people? Was he like a guillotine man? Was he a Kimura man? Was he a leg locker? What was his main go-to?
He wasn't too much of a complete fighter for me to tell you that he had a preference in a certain submission. But
right,
I would say that arm bars and chokes, yeah, his choke was devastating. His wrist was like this size.
yeah.
His hands were big. And yeah. Yeah, maybe that was it.
Natalie, what's your favorite submission?
Ezekiel from Mount.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one. I like it from the half guard too, as well, if I can get them flat enough, because they'll never see it coming.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I had it I had a judo lad do it to me once, and I thought something popped in my actual windpipe, and I thought my windpipe had snapped.
Oh.
It hadn't, like it was sore for days and days, but it's such a powerful choke done correctly that really, really good. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to start bringing the podcast to a close, but I've got one or two more questions just to finish. Mauricio, all the champions that came out of that gym in Copacabana, who was the one back in the day that you used to roll with and you used to think to yourself, he or she's amazing?
From my team?
Yeah.
Master Stambovsky, Master Makaka. He got his black belt with me.
Okay.
He has a gym in Connecticut called Gracie Sports.
Okay.
Me and him, I think, were one of the top level at halls at the time.
Yeah. Okay.
At the time.
Because Carlos Gracie Jr. came there to teach for a little bit as well, did he?
When I arrived at halls, Carlinhos was one of the instructors.
Yeah.
But he left. He went to work with Eddie Gracie.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I think, and that's where he got his black belt. Because I remember Carlinhos as a brown belt. When I first stepped into halls, he was a brown belt. Yeah.
Yeah.
A few. And sometime later, he was already a black belt. Eddie must have given to him.
Okay. Do you think Hollis and Carlson get the credit they deserve for what they produced in that gym, in the gym?
I think we don't have that many on Halls' side to keep bringing the torch up all the time. We try as much as we can. Me, Mas Macajon.
Yeah.
You have Jacaré, which is the head of the Alliance team.
Yeah.
That's been world champion 13 times in a row.
Yeah.
And I consider them the continuing.
Representation of holes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that they, because of Jacaré, Gigi, and Fábio Gurgel, they actually follow the same route as Halls in terms of everything that they do. It's not that Gracie Barra doesn't, but Gracie Barra is a bit different now than it used to be. And but yeah, I think we try, and Carson has a bunch of guys as well that are still there representing him, like all the other guys from, you know, Murilo Bustamante and have so many others. It's because, unfortunately, his son is still around. He has an academy in London.
Yeah.
That Simon and Dickie Martin still run, and we try to keep their memory alive. That's what we try to, you know, that's all we can do.
Yeah.
Like Hélio and Carlos were the main man of everything.
Yeah.
Nobody will forget them. We're just trying to keep the ones that came after them vivid, alive, and listen.
Yeah.
Contribution that they did was huge.
Yeah.
And here we are to prove that. Me and so many others, and now, and Hansel and everybody else, and now another generation came, Roger, my son, and others of his age, Halls' son, Igor and Gregor, and Olizinho. And just try to keep going.
Because that's how I felt. That's how I felt reading that book. Is that there was obviously you got Elio and Carlos, but then to me, Carlson and Hollis are just as important for what Jiu-Jitsu has become. Do you know what I mean? They're all as important as each other in my eyes.
Yeah, everyone had its role to play in what we see here today as the Jiu-Jitsu, you know.
Definitely.
Halls had his vision of experimenting with other martial arts and putting them into our game. Carson was the heavy hitter with the really tough guys to fight, and other instructors that came after that, following the lines, Carson's line, Halls' line. And we're just very, very grateful to have been part of an ongoing history still. This won't end. As you can see, there's others coming along and other generations popping up, but it was fun while we were there doing our thing and with our instructors. Now it's time for somebody else.
Yeah. And as I say, you're a part of that history as well, Mauricio, because if you didn't come to Birmingham and deal with them cold winters, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the UK wouldn't be as it is.
Probably somebody else would have done it.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be as it is.
It wouldn't be as it is.
There you go.
Yeah.
So stop being.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to go to Natalie for the last little bit. Natalie, what's the most important thing Jiu-Jitsu's taught you in life?
Oh my goodness. I think the most important thing that Jiu-Jitsu has taught me is to know myself intrinsically, and it's given me It has. It gave me a husband.
Yeah.
That anything is possible. I had a moment with my kid the other day where was I? Oh, I was mat side at Grapple Fest.
Yeah.
I was about to coach my student, and I looked at my kid and I said, if you'd have told me that this was going to be my job, if you'd have told me that when I was 25 years old, this is going to be your job. You're going to train fighters.
Yeah.
And we're going to drive all over the country, and then you're going to fly all over the world, and you're going to take these fighters to matches. I would never have believed you. I would never have believed you. I wouldn't have even wanted that as a job. I'd be like, what the hell? But it just shows you, like, with jiu-jitsu, anything is possible. You can be stuck under 100-kilo guy, and there is always a way out. You might have to be patient, but there is always a way out. And I think that is something, that jiu-jitsu has told me. Anything is possible, and there's always a way out.
Yeah. Natalie, I want to thank you for organizing this podcast. I'll message you. I'll be in touch regarding some training. And Mauricio, I can't wait for you to get your red belt.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
That one. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Vegas, 3 years time.
2027.
Thank you for everything you've done for
Thank you,
Brazilian
Gavin.
Jiu-Jitsu. Thank you.
No, thank you for having us.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.